Hello, everyone. This is Angie from All Creatures Podcast. Today, I'll be hosting another special episode of All Creatures, just for kids, made by kids. And today, we're featuring some awesome mammals. One is super tall and uses its long neck and long tongue to browse the leaves and the twigs from the thorny acacia trees in Africa. The other mammal we'll be talking about today is a beloved and very brilliant swimmer in the ocean. But before we get started, I just want to say thanks so much for listening today and doing your part as an animal conservation hero. Listening, learning, loving, and sharing information all about these creatures is an important step to conserving them. So you are all creature conservation heroes in my book. And today is also a very, very special podcast because I'm talking to my first kid expert from Australia. Yay, I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. My first guest is Samara, and she will be wowing us with big, big facts about the giraffe. Samara lives in Melbourne, Australia, and she is a huge animal lover. And my second guest is Amber, who also lives in Melbourne, Australia, and she is going to be talking about the beloved Bottlenose Dolphin. Yes, I love talking about dolphins. So it's going to be a fun one today. Be sure to stick around. And let's get this All Creatures Kid podcast from Down Under started. Hello, Samara. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good.
Good. I'm so glad you're joining me. Can you tell all of our listeners where you live? Where are you from?
I'm from Kilmore,
And what state or region and country is that in?
Australia.
Australia, that's right. I'm so excited. You're my first Australian kid guest on the podcast. So give me a big smile. It's super exciting. I know I'm very happy. So cool. And now, Samara, how old are you?
I'm 7.
You're 7 years old. And which creature did you decide to talk to me about today?
Giraffes.
Giraffes. That's right. And what made you decide to talk about giraffes?
Because they're really nice animals.
They are very nice animals. And they're very big, too.
Really tall.
Really, really tall. And now, is giraffe your favorite animal, or do you have lots of favorites?
I have a lot of favorites.
Ooh, tell me some.
Penguins and one giraffe. That's what I'm talking about right now. And really nice. And I like dogs and I like cats.
Yes. And do you have any pets at home?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you have?
I got 3 of them. But my lizards at the old house will be, we have a lizard that's called, it's one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. He's really cute. She's really cute. And we got 2 cats. One of them is Livy, one of them is Jasper.
Wow. And what's on your t-shirt there? What creature is that?
It's a unicorn. It's my imagination favorite animal.
It's your imagination favorite animal. I love that. Oh, we have a lot of unicorn stuff in our house right now. They're very popular as well. And I of course, love them too. So now, as we get started talking about giraffes today, we mentioned that they're really big, but can you give our listeners your description? Like how would you describe them? What do they look like?
They have spots.
That's right. And what color are those spots?
They have
they're like brown, right? Brownish tan.
Yeah, brownish
brownish black. That's right. And then in between the spots, what color is that?
Yellow.
Yellow. You're right. They have a beautiful pattern on their bodies, don't they?
Did you know those little things on their heads are actually horns?
Tell me more about these little horns on their head.
Do
they have 1 or 2?
They have two.
That's right. And do the boys have them only, or do the boys and the girls have horns?
Both of them, because they're both the same species. Like, imagine there's lions, okay? Lions, the male lions have manes on their necks, and the females don't.
Right.
So they're both different.
Yeah, but with giraffes, both the males and the females have the horns, and the horns have a really fancy name that's hard to say. They're called ossicones. Can you say ossicones?
Ossicones.
Yeah. And now we mentioned that they're tall. Like, how tall?
Yeah. Really tall. They're the most tallest animals in the whole entire planet.
Exactly, Samara. You're right. They are the tallest animals in the world. And what makes them really tall? What parts of their bodies are tall or long?
You think there's more bones in their necks, but there's actually 7. But they're more inches than our necks. Because our normal necks have 7, and they have 7 too. But their one's longer and our one's shorter.
Oh my gosh, you are so smart and correct. Yes, so it's really, giraffes are known. Everybody knows they have really long, the length of their neck is really long. But as Samara mentioned, technically they have the same number of vertebrae or neck backbones that we have. They're just, as she mentioned, they're really spaced out. And why do you think the giraffe has such a long neck? Like, what advantage does that do for it?
It's like for them to attack or something.
Yeah, the males wrestle. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the males like swing their necks to each other, and if whoever wins get the female giraffe.
That's right. Yeah, it's called neck wrestling. It's pretty crazy. Imagine wrestling with just your tall necks. Yeah. Yikes! And what else do they use their necks to reach for?
Leaves.
That's right.
Leaves on trees.
Very good. Yeah, their necks are so long they can reach all the leaves that nobody else can reach, right? All the yummy, delicious leaves. And did you learn anything about their tongues that was kind of cool and special?
They're really long.
Yeah, like how long? Longer than yours? Here's mine. Longer than mine?
Even longer than yours. Even longer than mine, longer than anyone's.
That's right. A super long tongue. It clocks in at about a foot long, or I always think of that as maybe like 2 bananas in a row.
2 bananas.
2 banana tongue. What? That's crazy. And did you happen to come across what color their tongue was?
They're blue.
That's right. And do you ever get a blue tongue?
No. Do you know what happened to tongues?
What?
Lizards, type of lizards have like a
They do.
And frogs have really long tongues too.
That's right. Super long. Mm-hmm. And giraffes are right up there with them. And yeah, they have these purple blackish tongues that are used to get even the taller leaves way up high. They can like grab around and pull.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. And so if giraffes eat leaves, what is that? Does that make them more of a carnivore or an herbivore? What do you think?
Carnivore.
That's right, an herbivore. They eat only leaves and maybe little twigs and grasses. So very good. And this is a very important question. Tell us where giraffes live. Do they live in your backyard in Australia?
No, they live in Africa in the Greenlands.
That's right. They live all through Africa. And now, have you been able to go to a zoo and see a giraffe before?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, they sometimes if you're lucky enough to have a nice zoo in your neighborhood, they might have giraffes there, so you get to see them. And I've even been able to like feed them before, which is super fun. But yes, giraffes are from Africa. I can tell you've been doing your research, Samara. You love animals, don't you?
I love animals. I love sea life. I love land life.
Oh, well, look over your notes and what other cool facts did you learn about giraffes?
This is the one that I already know. they stretch their legs out to grab water because they can't really reach their necks to the water. So that's why they put their legs out for them to get more easier for them to get the water.
That's right.
And this is another fact. Their legs are so long, their heart beats more than us. So there's little veins, and then it goes up to our neck to our belly.
That's incredible. You know all that. Tell me more. Oh my goodness, girl, get those notes out. This is fascinating. What else do you got for me?
Their spots, they're different. They're different with other giraffes. Some giraffes are in different countries, but except, wait for the difference. They're actually, look at the spots, they're different.
Samara, you're so right. The different subspecies of giraffes have different shaped spots on them or markings. And then even with that, no two giraffes of the same subspecies, even if they're brother and sister or mother and baby, they're not the same. So they're kind of like how we say humans have unique fingerprints, right? Giraffes have unique spot prints, right? So it makes them very cool, and then you can tell them apart too based on their markings. Very good. What else did you learn?
Did you know there's actually white giraffes?
Oh, really? Is that common?
Yeah, it's different species. They live in where the other giraffes are.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only one more left in the wild.
Oh.
Because everybody's killing them.
Yeah, giraffes. I was going to ask you.
The numbers are going down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you came across anything about giraffe conservation and how many giraffes there are left in the world. Are there a lot of them or not that many?
There's not that many.
Yeah, that's right. Even though they're so big and beautiful, out of the 9 subspecies of giraffes, 2 of them are critically endangered, and a couple more of them are endangered or vulnerable, which means they have very, very low numbers. And so,
like the white giraffes, they're different species.
Yeah.
So there's only one more left. There was a mother and they had 2 calves, but the other calf died and the mum died because they're killing them. But there was only one more left in the wild. They're nearly extinct.
Well, yeah, and so now, Samara, that brings me to another really important question. I know you love the giraffe because they're so big and they're beautiful and they're one of your favorites. But why should kids and people or adults, why should we want to save the giraffe? Why, when their numbers are so low, why should we love them like you do?
Because they're friendly. They help us a lot. They help, their necks are so long. You wish to have one of them. You wish to be a giraffe. They won't just want to be your friend.
I agree. They're so beautiful. And they're so unique. They deserve our love and our support and our protection to make sure they can stay safe living in the wilds of Africa. And they're just so beautiful, right? I mean, I don't know if
they're really beautiful.
They're so beautiful. And this is kind of a silly question. Do you know if giraffes make any noises?
No.
No? They're usually pretty quiet.
They're silent.
Yeah, they're usually pretty
silent. They're really silent like spiders.
Yeah, they are pretty silent like spiders. I did listen to a baby calling its mom one time, and it was kind of like, "Rawr." But it wasn't very distinct. Yeah, I was like, "Rawr." I'm not doing it justice. But they oh, are you laughing at me? Good for you. I laugh at myself all the time. Oh, is that your giraffe noise? Let me hear it. Samara, awesome. You know giraffes inside out. That is so great. Yes, they are. They're usually pretty quiet, but they can make some of those silly noises that you and I shared. I love it. And now listen, do you have any other facts about giraffes that you came across? They've got big hearts, long necks.
They have. And guess what?
What?
They run really fast.
Like how fast?
like more than 35 meters per hour.
Yes, they can run up to 35 miles per hour, which is pretty fast. I mean, I can't run that fast, that's for sure. You might be able to. You seem pretty strong, but no, I don't think humans can run that fast. No. Very good. What else? Anything else that you found that was making them seem like giraffe superheroes?
They sleep standing up and keep one eye open to look for danger.
That's very good. Yeah. What kind of danger? What kind of danger do they get into in Africa?
Lions, cheetahs, leopards, all sorts of animals that's their prey.
Yeah, exactly. As a prey species, you've got to be able to run. And so one of the best ways to do that is to be able to run fast and sleep standing up with one eye open, right? Do you sleep with one eye open?
I do this when I went
like when you don't want to fall asleep and when you try to stay awake. Yeah, my boys do that. That's awesome. And now, Samara, when you were doing all your research, did you learn about, do they live in groups or do they like to live alone?
They love to live in herds.
That's right.
So the little baby ones sleep and the adult ones stay standing up looking for danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they live in family groups, just like me and you, right? They like to stay together. Yeah, safety in numbers for sure.
Bigger.
But way bigger. Exactly. And so before we get going, is there anything else from your notes that you would like to share with our listeners about giraffes?
They actually don't have skin. They actually have fur.
That's right, because this is an easy question, but giraffes, are they mammals, reptiles, or birds?
Reptiles. Mammals.
Mammals. You knew that. You're just joking with me. They're mammals. And so, right, just like all other mammals, they have fur. And their fur is very soft. And of course, there's such pretty colors with the brown spots. And now this is actually a question about you. I have a couple questions for you since you were so nice to come and talk to me today. First of all, what was your favorite thing about doing this podcast with me?
Because I love animals and I watched 2 of your shows.
Awesome. And how did you prepare? How did you learn about giraffes before you came on?
I did a lot of research every day after homeschool.
Mm-hmm. And you wrote down, you actually took notes too, right? Let me see them. Yeah. Can you hold them up so I can see them? Wow. And look how nice and neat your penmanship and handwriting is.
No, it's my mom's.
Oh, she writes good notes. Your mama's awesome. But you're reading the notes, and so that's a big deal. That makes me really proud of you and how hard you worked. And all your facts have been amazing. I think that leads me to my last question. What do you think you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be an animal rescuer.
Awesome. Well, Samara, you are on your way to saving animals every day. You are such a conservation hero, and I so appreciate you coming back and talking to us today on All Creatures Podcast, all about giraffes and how much you love them and why we should conserve them and protect them. And would you be willing to come back on and maybe cover another species for us?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. What would you like to talk about?
Maybe the next one could be penguins.
Awesome. Penguins. We'll have to have you back on for sure and talk all about penguins. Well, thank you so much, Samara. You take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetie. And my second guest today on All Creatures Podcast is Amber. And I'm so excited to have Amber on today because she is going to be talking about one of the most beloved marine mammals ever. She's going to be talking to us about the bottlenose dolphin. And I just am so happy that we get to talk all things dolphins today on the podcast. So, Amber, are you there? Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for being here today and talking with me. I'm so excited to talk about dolphins. one of my favorites. I'm sure they're a favorite of a lot of our listeners, and clearly they're one of your favorites as well.
Yeah. They're like my favorite animal of all times.
Awesome. So when I reached out to you about doing the podcast, it was a no-brainer. You were going to always pick the bottlenose dolphin.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. So can you give me a little background about where did your love of dolphins start?
I think the first time I really fell in love with dolphins was when we went to SeaWorld in Queensland. Awesome. And they have like the dolphin show and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I forgot in the intro to mention that you are now my official second Australian guest. So I'm so happy that you're there. And I'm even more happy that you got to go see dolphins in Queensland, because that's a really special treat. I have not yet been to a show at SeaWorld, but I am very excited to eventually take my boys when they get a little older, because I think that the education that they do there is just phenomenal, and it had a big impact on you as a young child, right?
Yeah, and then I've always wanted to go swimming with them, and so recently I did that as well.
Get out of here. That's so cool. That's awesome. That's another thing. It's definitely on my bucket list. But yeah, wow. So yes, and that's just obviously driven your love for dolphins even more, I would imagine. I've never been that close to one before, so I just couldn't imagine how cool that is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. And so for our listeners out there, I know everybody knows what a dolphin looks like, but can you, since we're talking specifically about bottlenose dolphins today, can you just describe them a little bit and how they might look different than some of the other dolphins?
Well, a bottlenose dolphin is around 2 meters in length. And they're grey and they're very shiny, and their distinctive feature that basically separates them from a lot of other dolphins is that they've got a shorter, fat nose. And it also, the way that their mouth sits also gives them an impression that they're always smiling.
Oh, I love that description. Yeah. Oh, they're super cute, basically, right? in a nutshell. Yeah. And so where does the bottlenose dolphin live?
Bottlenose dolphins live in the Pacific Ocean. They generally will like warmer climates, such as Australia, around the coastal areas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And are there a lot of bottlenose dolphins? Are they endangered, or what's their status?
They're actually at least concerned, even though they are hunted for their oil and fat by some countries, but they are not endangered at the moment, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. It's I love positive stories. It's such a good story for the bottlenose dolphin. Right now, like you said, sometimes they are hunted, and of course we have to make sure and keep their habitat, the ocean, clean and healthy for them. But some of their cousins, some of the other dolphins, like the Ganges river dolphin and the Indus river dolphin, the finless porpoise, the vaquita porpoise, the Irrawaddy dolphin, are either endangered or critically endangered. And so, yeah, some of their cousins, especially those river dolphins, aren't faring as well. So it's we got to make sure and take care of all the waterways for dolphins in general, because obviously you love bottlenose dolphins, but all dolphins are pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, Amber, what does a bottlenose dolphin eat? What's its diet consist of?
They will generally eat just the fish that are in their area that their pod will generally be in, but they do sometimes eat crustaceans like shrimp and other smaller crustaceans like that, but they do generally just stick to fish.
Gotcha. And you mentioned their pod, and so that was going to be my next question. Do they live in large groups, or do they live by themselves?
For the bottlenose dolphin, they live in groups of about 10 to 15, and they'll generally all stick with their pod. Obviously, it's safer in numbers, so...
Yeah, definitely. Well, do they have any predators? Like, what goes after them?
I couldn't find a lot that was really big on their predators because there are a lot of stories about how sharks are actually scared of dolphins. So really humans are their biggest predator in that respect because we do hunt them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And when you were doing the research, I mean, obviously dolphins are super intelligent and have fun behaviors, but what cool behaviors did you come across in your research?
Um, a cool behavior that I actually found was that dolphins can sense when a person's in danger, not just their own pod. So if there's like, say for example, a shark nearby a person, they will actually try and protect that person if they can. Because they have just a sense of danger like that.
Yeah, they're just so intelligent. A lot of research has shown that they have the intelligence of like little kids and that they can recognize themselves in a mirror and they can work with almost like a keyboard to communicate with the humans or the researchers on toys that they want because they love toys, which is awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think this is crazy. I don't know if you know this, but they actually have a bigger brain than humans. And humans have the biggest brain to body size ratio, but dolphins are like the second biggest. And they have a bigger brain to body size ratio than like chimpanzees, which of course are another really smart animal. So it's just incredible. And I think what fascinates me too is the way they communicate. Did you research anything about their language or how they communicate with one another?
Yeah, I did actually. They often will communicate in echolocation, so they'll send out echoes to make sure there's nothing in their way, such as other animals or rocks and stuff like that. But when they're communicating within their own group, they'll use a lot of clicks and whistles. And obviously those different clicks and whistles mean different things. So one might mean they're in danger, another might be calling back other dolphins that have sort of swum out too far.
It's just incredible. Yeah, I mean, scientists haven't quite considered it a language per se, but there is talk in the research community about that there's different dialects and that they maybe actually even have a language for each other. So like Amber is click, 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 and Angie is click, click, click. Or that they might have that ability to almost be able to individualize each other and use their language to do that. And for me, that's just so incredible. But they also do a lot of non-vocal communication that you may have seen when you were at SeaWorld. Did you research or remember any of those behaviors about some of the fun swimming behaviors that they do?
No, I didn't actually. I've never really noticed that in dolphins, to be honest.
Oh, no. Yeah, they just they'll do fun things like tail slaps and flipper slaps, and sometimes they'll make little noises out of their blowhole, or they'll blow bubbles, which is just hilarious and cute, right? So yeah, I know, right? Like, yeah, you gotta find a YouTube video on dolphin blowing bubbles. But yeah, I know they have an amazing way to express themselves and their emotions and with their families and family groups. So they're not shy to not only, besides doing all the clicks and whistles like you mentioned, they can also use their body, right? Humans, we use body language, right, as well. And so Amber, what are some other things you learned about dolphins or that you want to share with our audience?
I was actually researching about how many different types of dolphins there were.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that they're actually closely related to whales. And some of the whales, like the orca whale and stuff like that. So among the 42 different species of dolphins, whales are also linked into them.
Very cool. Yeah, and whales are awesome as well. I love orca behavior for me, some of their hunting behaviors is just the most fascinating. And as you mentioned with bottlenose dolphins or dolphins in general, is that sharks, yeah, they sometimes know not to mess with adult dolphins because they're smart enough to figure out how to protect themselves. And they know that, as you mentioned very, very early in the podcast, that they've found safety in numbers, which is really, really, really important. And I just love how social they are with their family members. There's reports of them. Actually, you can appreciate this with your niece. There are reports of female dolphins babysitting, like being really good aunties to younger dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. So just a lot of, you can relate, I'm sure. You probably get roped into babysitting here and there once in a while, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, yeah. And then like sometimes they'll even help other female dolphins will assist with birth. When a female dolphin is giving birth, one of her relatives will help. So they're just fascinating. I mean, and there's so much we have to like learn about them as far as their behavior and how smart they are. Did you come across anything else that was interesting and fun?
I actually came across how they feed their babies.
Tell me. Yes.
Yeah, they have these two little basically they're like little indentations near their tails. And a baby will go, or a calf, they will go and they'll actually suction onto this little mammary gland, I think they're called. And the mother will then voluntarily eject milk from this little indentation in her body, and the calf will then drink this milk, and they can actually do this while they're swimming. So they can be feeding their calf and swim.
Isn't that just incredible? Yes, Amber. I'm so glad you brought this up. I mean, dolphins are mammals, and mammals, one of the defining features of a mammal is that they produce milk or breast milk like humans. And so their babies nurse. And so baby bottlenose dolphins, and dolphins or any whale species in general, will nurse from the mom to get the milk. And they do this underwater, which is incredible to me, the physics of it. And then now you just mentioned, which I did not know this fact, that they'll actually swim and nurse.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Dolphins are super moms. No wonder they need their aunties to help babysit. They're probably tired. That's just incredible. Oh my goodness. God, I'm in love with them. You have reminded me why I should love and protect and save dolphins. And so that leads me to one of my last questions is, obviously you and I love dolphins, and a lot of people do, but if you had like one thing to tell people on why they should love dolphins, protect the oceans, and help save dolphins from either being hunted or caught in fishing nets and stuff like that, what would you say? Like, why should we love dolphins?
I reckon the biggest thing for why we should love dolphins is because if you're ever in danger, they'll always sense it and they'll come and help you. And I suppose that's always a great thing. And on top of that, they're such angelic creatures. So why shouldn't you love them?
Oh, Amber, I totally agree. I mean, there's just so much to love about them, from their, like you said, the way that they'll help, their intelligence, their social families, their physiology of how they can swim and nurse, and their echolocation. They're just really incredible species, and we need all, like you mentioned, how many did you say? There's 46 species?
42.
Or so? 42. Yes, they all need our protections, and some of them are in dire need of even are critically endangered, or are in dire needs of us taking care of the waterways and making sure that they're not accidentally overfished and things like that. So we got to keep spreading the dolphin love. That's for sure.
Yep.
And I know you're a dolphin lover, but have you decided, or do you think you have any ideas about what you want to do when you grow up?
When I'm older, I actually want to become a police officer. But I suppose a hobby can always be swimming with dolphins.
I love that. Or yes, there's actually military dolphins out there that they train. So maybe you could be a dolphin trainer too, and do police to protect people, or also I love police dogs too. That training's really rad that they do with a lot of the clicker training and things like that. So yes, there's always, no matter what you end up doing, there's always a way to, like you mentioned, on the side, to work with animals and hopefully dolphins, and love and protect and conserve them. And I also forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast, because I was just like so excited. So excited to talk to dolphins. Amber, can you tell everyone how old you are?
I'm 14.
Awesome. 14, yes. And loving and conserving and saving dolphins and getting everybody excited about dolphins. Swimming with dolphins, you're so lucky. I'm super jealous. I just am. I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and perhaps you'll come back and talk to me about another animal sometime.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Amber, it was my pleasure. Absolutely. And I know you're obviously a dolphin fan, but if you had to pick another species to research, what would you want to learn about?
Probably seals.
Ooh, yes. All right, girl. It's a date. We'll have to have you back on here talking all about seals. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate getting to know you, Amber. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Wow, friends, that was such a fun episode of All Creatures Kids. Giraffes and dolphins are just such cool mammals. And I hope you enjoyed listening to Amber and Samara, and you learned lots of fun facts to share with your friends and family. And of course, thank you to you, the listener, as well. You're all conservation heroes just by listening, learning, loving, and conserving all creatures. And giraffes and dolphins, they thank you too for listening and learning and loving. And a big, big, big Australian-sized thank you to my experts, Samara and Amber, for talking to us today about giraffes and dolphins. They did a lot of research and they poured their hearts into it, and they both did a brilliant job. So thank you, ladies. If you or someone you know is interested in becoming an All Creatures Kid expert and being interviewed on the podcast, please send me, Angie, an email at allcreatureskidspod@gmail.com. You can also visit our website at allcreaturespod.com to learn more about the creatures that you love and want to conserve. And if you can, a 5-star review on iTunes is always appreciated. So take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.